If you're looking to buy or sell a home and are frustrated with the new stringent rules to finance a mortgage, you might be tempted to consider seller financing. So we asked Local 10's Julie Summers to investigate the pros and cons.
Eddie Miller admires the stunning view from this condo for sale in Miami. And to him, what's really beautiful is the option to buy it with seller financing instead of a conventional loan.
This is a great unit, and that the fact that it's offered seller financing, there's a competition for this.
He's exactly right. Seller financing is setting sail as stricter rules for conventional financing leave some buyers high and dry.
It's really challenging right now to get financed. You have to have a pretty decent credit score, as well as you have to bring 20% to the table.
In a seller finance deal, the seller of this condo, in essence, assumes the role of a banker, signing a deed transferring title to the buyer, and in return, the buyer signs a note agreeing to make payments and a mortgage on the condo, which secures payment of the note.
I know on this particular unit, I have, since seller financing was offered, this property is being shown probably a half a dozen times a week. That's great.
Which is more than it was under conventional financing?
As soon as the Fannie Mae guidelines changed and the newspaper came out, my showings dropped. Just dropped, went flat.
Kellogg says as a realtor, she estimates the lure of seller financing can increase an owner's chance of selling by 50%. Buyers are especially drawn in because it's easier. It helps those who have trouble qualifying for conventional financing. And seller financing saves buyers money on closing costs because they don't have to pay all those fees wrapped up in a conventional deal. In addition, there's no PMI, which saves money, but there are some possible disadvantages for buyers. If you're considering a seller finance deal, you should know that you could be faced with a higher interest rate. That's one of the terms you'll negotiate with the seller. You'll also face the likelihood of a balloon payment after the first few years, experts say. And because you're dealing with an individual instead of a bank, there are risks.
That individual could leave town, could pass away, and then you're dealing with an estate, and that can result in certain problems.
That's why experts like McCaughan recommend a buyer make sure the seller sets up an LLC or corporation to hold the mortgage instead of holding it themselves. Seller financing can also benefit the seller.
The seller can get a greater return on a seller finance note and mortgage than, for example, a CD, and certainly the stock market isn't exactly a place to go right now.
Not only does it offer sellers an alternative place to put their money in these uncertain times, a seller finance deal can also close much quicker than if a bank is involved, and the property can be sold as is, which often saves the seller money in repairs that a conventional lender would demand. As far as possible disadvantages for a seller, experts say there's only one, and it's universal.
In this particular market right now, your worry would be that the value of the property continues to deteriorate.
One final aspect to consider before you sign a deal involving seller financing is that experts recommend you hire a real estate attorney. The purchase of a home is a complicated legal transaction, and it's professional on your side. For Local 10 News, I'm Julie Summers.